What's going to happen at Florida? The job's open. There's no speculation. There's no hot seat talk anymore. Billy Napier has been fired. I kind of completely agree with the popular sentiment right now around this job. And if you haven't been paying attention, let me get you up to speed. It won't take long. The popular sentiment with this job is they're going to go after Lane Kiffin. And that's the popular sentiment because Florida's going to go after Lane Kiffin. And Lane Kiffin may end up taking the job. Now, this is a matter of much debate and speculation right now. And I'm going to get into it in just a second, but I do want to say that Pete Nakos has been doing a really good job over at On3 of updating this. I was just reading some of his work before we went on air, although I don't know why, because I could just go badger him at his desk. We work in the same building after all. And I did do that today. And so one of the things Pete noted that I think is 100% true is that hiring a coordinator or a group of 6 coach is not an option for Florida. That's just their prerogative. They have decided we're not taking a chance on a coordinator, so we're not doing what Oregon did. We're not hiring Dan Lanning and hoping it works out, even though it did work out for Oregon. But we're not doing that. We're Florida. We don't have to take a risk, and we're not going back to the G5 or group of 6 ranks because they just went to Louisiana and got Billy Napier. And some people wanted to call him Blue Chip Billy, and some people wanted to call him Sunbelt Billy, and now he's unemployed Billy. And so the boosters are saying, we're not doing that again. Hey, man, John Summerall may be a good coach, or Alex Golesh may be a good coach, or Willie Fritz may be a good coach. Or Willie Fritz is in the Big 12 now, but they probably still don't know that. We're not going that route. We want a proven winner, and that's Lane Kiffin. And if it's not Lane, then that's Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri. Now, I would go down the list and give you 5 more names. I don't think they're getting past those 2. One of those 2 guys is probably going to be the head coach at Florida. That's really not the point of contention here. Most of the time, people are debating who's going to take the job. At Florida, at the very least, I think most people understand who's going to get offered the job. The $1 million question, in fact, the $10 or $15 million question is, will he take the job? I don't know. I have a very, very like 53%, 47% type feel on this. My feel is he will take the job. Very slightly. Very slightly. Now, last year I was like 90-10 that if they offered him the job, if they had fired Billy last year and they had offered him the job, I thought Lane was going to go. There's still like a slightly larger part of me than not that believes he would take the job. But I don't know. I don't know because it could be that his mind's changed. It could be that the landscape has changed. It could be that both things are true. It's what you got to ask yourself. Has anything really fundamentally changed here? Well, first off, we've got to ask, were we right? Was I right last year? Would he have taken the job last year? Strong indications he would have. Strong indications he would have. But we can never prove that. So let's just assume I was right and he would have taken it last year. Will he take it this year? There are some people who think he would because Florida's a better job. There are other people who think that Florida is a better job, but it's not that much better that he should leave Ole Miss. There are other people who think Florida's not a better job than Ole Miss. At the very least, it's negligible. And there are some other people who probably just think Ole Miss is the best job in the world. What does Lane Kiffin think? Because he's the only candidate. Therefore, he is the only opinion that matters here. But to the people who will come in the comment section, and I respect you guys. I just told you I don't know what he's going to do. But I know I'm going to kind of get ahead of it because I assume where you're going to go with this. I know there are some people, many people, thousands of people actually, will be in my comments and they will say, why would he take that job? Why would you leave Ole Miss where you already have everything set up the way you want it to take the Florida job? Hey, really quick timeout. We'll get right back to the video. Do me one favor. Make sure you're subscribed. It helps us keep the show free. It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep doing college football year round. And we appreciate it. All right, back to the video. And I thought Shane Matthews did a really good job. Yes, he's a former Florida player, but a lot of the stuff he laid out, he was doing either a radio show or a podcast. I mean, Shane laid out a lot of stuff that you can't really push back on all that much. He talked about how the facilities are better there. I've been in both places. Florida's got incredible facilities. They're brand new. So it's better there than it is at Ole Miss. Geography, if you prefer to live in Florida, I mean, there are some people who would prefer to live in Oxford, Mississippi over Gainesville. Most people would probably prefer Florida. But look, man, Oxford, Mississippi is a really nice place. So that may be more a matter of opinion. So I'll grant you that if you're pushing back on that. The alumni base is bigger at Florida, if that matters to you. The game day environment unequivocally is better at Florida in stadium. Now, you can go hang out in the Grove indefinitely, and that's about as amazing a scene as there is in college football. They don't decide 3rd and 8 in the Grove. They decide it in the stadium. And the Swamp is second to none when it comes to that. The media market proximity, again, this doesn't matter to fans. It doesn't matter to some coaches, but it may matter. But when you keep stacking that stuff on top of each other, there's a solid argument to be made there. Florida's the better job. Here's the question. Does Lane Kiffin care about any of that? That's really all that matters. The case can be made as to why, generically, a coach would leave Ole Miss for Florida, but that's a generic coach. Lane Kiffin's not generic. He is a specific person here. And the thing that I wonder, there's one word that matters here to me. It's legacy. How much does that matter to Lane Kiffin? So a couple of things I wonder. I wonder if he's made up his mind, because there's one thing for it to be a theoretical, there's another thing for it to be an actual. And you know as well as I do, any of the big decisions you've ever made in your life, you could theorize it all you want to. When someone puts a piece of paper in front of you, sign it yes or no. Only then do you really find out where your heart's at. So he may already know, or he may think he knows. That's when you'll find out. And I just wonder what legacy means to him. This is kind of the case I would make if I were Ole Miss. Yes, there are edges that Florida has, but this is 2025 college football. Those are not the edges they used to be. If this were 1997, if this were 2010, it's understandable. It's 2025. And truth be told, our NIL structure may be even better built right now than theirs is. Ole Miss was ahead of the curve and has been ahead of the curve on that front. The Florida folks would push back and say, yeah, well, how many staffers have you lost that you wanted to retain? How many have we lost down here? And we had a guy en route to being fired. Yours can stay there as long as he wants to, and he still can't retain staff. He would never have that problem here. And if we got the right coach here, the machine behind him that we'll build with NIL will dwarf anything you have. Okay, maybe that's true. How much does legacy mean to Lane Kiffin? Because right now, Lane's been in Oxford for a while, and he's at the pinnacle of his career. And if you're watching in real time, you never really know. Like you're in the good old days, you're in the prime of your career. But you got to think of it in like documentary terms. Fast forward 30 years. Your career, I would guess, is over. You're looking back on it. And there's a fork in the road. And you're either going to decide, my life is in Oxford, Mississippi. I'm the head coach at Ole Miss. And if you decide to go that route, you'll end up winning several more years at Ole Miss. And you will fundamentally alter that town. And there will be stuff named after you and buildings and streets named after you one day, if you do your job correctly. Okay? That's one path at the fork in the road. The other path is you want to find out how you would do at the University of Florida because you think you can win a national championship there and you're not sure you can win one at Ole Miss. And that means more to you than legacy. I'm not saying either is wrong. I am quite literally asking what matters more. That's what you'll find out. If this goes from theoretical to actual, if it's put in front of him, you have an offer in front of you to be the next head coach of the Florida Gators. Then and only then will you really find out. And everyone's got these slam dunk theories. Oh, he'll absolutely take it. Or, oh, he's not leaving. You don't know. He may not even know. Or maybe he does. But if he does, by my estimation, he hasn't told many people. So we'll see.